As a platoon sergeant, it is hard. You know, you're the disciplinarian, and you've got to be a good friend to them at the same time. But they're always there for you, all of them, and you've always got to be there for them, 100% of the time, no matter where in the world you are. And we were in Brecon, and I promised every lad that, you know, don't worry about it. We've been to Afghan before. Not a problem. You know, you're always trying to boost their morale and give them. You're there to input the confidence into them. And to be lying in a ditch, knowing that your boys are shot, blown up, RPG'd, all that is a horrific amount of pressure that it puts on you. But because you are the platoon sergeant, them boys, I don't want to sound nasty, they don't really look towards the platoon commander, they look towards the platoon sergeant, because he's one of them. Officers are officers, but the sergeants, they're one of the men. And to be lying in a ditch, and I'm stood there, I'm lying in this ditch with a little card with everyone's name on, their ZAP number, their blood group, and I'm ticking off Beaufort, missing in action, Johnson, T3, Cooper, Cole. You just go through and to have a little list, and you're marking men's name off like, you know, I can't explain it. It's just a horrible thing to do. Lying in a ditch, getting shot at, and you've got a bloke missing in action. You've got 3 blokes that you can't find. It's horrible. It is absolutely horrible. We've now moved back into a safe area where they all feel safe, and you've asked them, lads, we need to go back out again. There just doesn't see any logic behind it. So I'm literally saying, look, boys, you need to put your life on your line again for me. I'm going out. I want you to come with me. I need 9 volunteers. Both of us out there. We've got a grid for him. We can see him in the plane. We need to go back out, lads. Who's coming with me? And initially, to be honest, there was only a couple of volunteers. And then, again, I've got to try and boost lads. I'm saying, because only a couple of people are volunteers and they volunteer to go out and they're crying at me. And this is just killing me here. I'm about to go myself, but I've got to push that aside because there's a job to be done. So I'm like, right, gents, both of us out there. He's one of you. Would he have gone out and got you if it was you out there? Yes, he would. Who's coming with me? And then I say, right, I'll be back in a couple of minutes, boys. Take a minute, think about it. You know, think about both. Think about his wife and kid. He'd do the same for you. So I give him a couple of minutes, and then it's literally, I've got too many volunteers. They're all coming with me. And that's them putting their lives on the line again for me, for the platoon commander, for Botha. Because obviously we don't know the situation of Botha at the moment. We don't know where he is, what state he's in, or anything like that. All the boys know is that they're moving back into a massive wait of fire again, where there's 16, 18 Taliban shooting at us, and you're asking 9 men to go forward in that. It's going through your mind because I've just had to brief the lads, right, we're going back out, you know, we're going out to get the big man, but there's even more threats because they could have basically booby-trapped Botha's body. So when they move it, he could blow up, you could blow up, and that's just another threat. There's a possible mine threat for the Vikings, so when they're moving across this open ground, there's a threat to them. So if they go, we go with them. So the threat is just mounting up all the time. And as I say, as we're moving up on these Vikings, it's going through your head, is he there? Is it him? Is he alive? Is he dead? You know, really just don't know at this time. So we move into basically a half circle, push past him. It comes across the radio, it's Botha, so like that. You come out in goosebumps, take that big swallow, and you're just chuffed it's him. And obviously I don't know what the other blokes are feeling because they're in the back and you can't see air out of them and things like that. But it comes across the radio, Private Botha, T4, which means he's dead, so he's killed in action. And again, it's a bit of a worry and a relief at the same time. It's a relief that you've got him, but you know you've got him not the way you want to take him back. So I had to sit in the Viking by myself for a couple of minutes when we got back, and then Botha came off the back of the Viking. The doctor's obviously done his thing, It's now a case of as bad as it sounds, he needs backloading. He needs to go back, and he needs to fly out. So myself and the Sergeant Major stripping him of all his kit, taking his day sack off him, covered in bullet holes, covered in blood, and you're emptying his kit out when he's got letters in there and, you know, photos of his wife and kid, and all you're doing is ripping his kit apart. And to just feels like you're demoralising him. You know, you're stripping him of all his kit, and then you're sending him on his way. It's horrible, horrible situation. And that's one of your boys that you've just promised that you'll take back. Just come off R&R, 3 weeks to do, not a care in the world, and he's going back to England in the wrong way. Again, rips you apart. And I'm walking around camp crying, and I've got to do kit checks and stuff like that. And you come back in and you see all the bays laid out for all the casualties, and you see your section commanders that have come off the ground. And the blokes are deaf. I mean, physically deaf. They can't hear anything. And Corporal Lumley, the section commander, comes in, and he just comes in and cuddles me, and he's like, "Mick, you're a legend. Thank you." And he's crying, and that's me. Then I'm just done. So we all get together as a platoon and we just get it all out, just cry, and we all just sit on the floor in the sand, and we don't really say much, to be honest. Everyone's too emotional, really are. And there's still a job to do. You know, you're still there, like, lads. You know, the tour ain't finished yet. We've got more to do. And obviously you don't say that to them because it just sounds like you're just being nasty, you know, no heart, emotionless. But you've got to do it in a tactical way, get it done. So I just left them alone. They all did their own thing. Not many of them could do much. They were absolutely in a right mess. I didn't see my platoon commander for about an hour because he was just crying solidly, and he's having to brief other people, other officers higher than him, while all this is going on. So just don't know where the job starts and ends. As I say, there's always a job to do, and you know, the boys did it well. We're actually at a little outpost looking after that, and we can intermingle with the ANA, the Afghan National Army, and they can chip down the road and get us some fizzy pop and chips and some cooking oil, which is like a luxury, massively. So we're at this outpost, and we do some trading with some of the brass that we collect. They love it out there, so we trade that for some, because we know we've got this one last supper before we go out on the big op, before we leave Garmsea. So it is like the last supper for us. So we're all collecting like little squirrels, collecting little nuts and all that. But, so we all split down into groups. Right, you get the fizzy, sorted. You get the potatoes, we'll peel them, get them into chips. You get the cooking oil, fantastic. So that's us. Before we move back, we've got like 4 or 5 crates of pop. Get them in the fridge back in camp, and get the lads starting to peel the potatoes and chop them up and all that. Cook the chips in an ammo container. I don't know about the health and safety side of life, but yeah, we just get an old ammo container, fill it with the oil. You don't really care out there. Chips are chips, and it's just literally boil the death out of the oil. Get the chips in there, and all the lads burn themselves all the time. Shook them in, but that's and then the raviolis just in a big massive tin. That's just again boil the death out of it till it's hot and chuck everything in there. Pea, the lot, it all goes in there. And that was our last supper. We actually got issued some Angel Delight, which we invented a whisk out of a drill and some wire to actually froth it all up, put it in the fridge, and it went off, so the pudding was ruined. But the meal was nice. All the lads enjoyed it. There was loads left, so it was nice to have chips and ravioli, to be honest. A nice can of pop as well. Brief the boys and you're off.